What's up, wrestling fans? On Wednesday night, AEW, Tony Khan specifically, will set out to expose, I would think, CM Punk for maybe his lies or maybe what he said. We're going to find out on Wednesday night what exactly is going on. The other day, CM Punk said a lot of things about the situation. What will this video show? Now, regardless of what the video shows, the fact that CM Punk was upset about having to deal with all this, I don't think is off the table. I don't think that's much of a lie. I feel like that frustration is real. Now, how much did CM Punk downplay how physically threatening he was? Is that why AEW feels the need to expose this video? I don't know. We're going to find out. But I can say one thing. This is the most interesting thing that AEW has been doing over the past 2 years. For the past couple of years, the most interesting thing in AEW has been CM Punk. One of the biggest and most interesting, memorable things in AEW history is the CM Punk press conference scrum where he talked about Mindy's Bakery or whatever. So what does that say, really? And then what does this say? That the ratings have been down for AEW, 700,000. And this week on the show, they've announced they're going to show the video from the CM Punk situation. So it's just like, I get it. And listen, I am prepared to bury Punk as much as I crapped on and buried Tony Khan and AEW for their stuff. If Punk full-on lied about things, and we're going to find out some stuff in this video, listen, I'm prepared then to take more of an equal side or a Tony Khan AEW side on things. But regardless of all that, you can't deny who's winning and losing here. I mean, I can't tell you how many people stabbed me in the back over the years and pretended to be my friend, and then they really weren't. And then after that, made videos lying about me and talking crap about me and would reach out to people to lie about me and do crazy things. And I get it from Tony Khan's perspective, maybe, but when I get it from WWE's perspective, I would say that, as the person that I've got the big channel, I've got the audience, I've got the whatever. So when smaller people are punching up in a ridiculous way, one of the best things you can do is just ignore it because you're already good. You're already crushing it. You're already good. Just keep moving on. That will eventually get you somewhere. But if you continuously have to try to defend yourself as the smaller fish, it's just such a losing battle. It's unbelievable. You don't want to play that game. It'd be smarter to grow and become as big or bigger than that person, and then you can step up to the fight potentially. But you don't want to be fighting it at this point. And it is weird, though, that this is their biggest story. This is their biggest thing that's going on is CM Punk said stuff in a podcast, and now we're going to prove him wrong. After taking 10 minutes last week, they're like in a work with themselves. They're in a wrestling angle right now with CM Punk, and he doesn't know it. This is like the movie Bowfinger, where in the movie Bowfinger, Steve Martin, a wild and crazy guy, Steve Martin, they get this big movie star, and they basically film him without his knowledge. Reciting lines from a movie he doesn't know he's going to be in, which is all kinds of illegal. But you know what I'm saying? That's the point of the movie is, they're filming scenes with this movie star to put him in their movie, even though he doesn't know he's in the movie. That's what this is like. They're they're reacting to CM Punk's podcast that he did on their real show. And then on their real show, they're reacting that they're going to do something next week in reaction to that. They're spending more, the interest in AEW is in a feud in an angle that can't happen. It's really, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm loving it as a fan because right now AEW is sucked, right? AEW has been really bad recently. And now they fired the boys, and the boys are saying that they're liars and Tony Khan's a liar, and they're proving that on Twitter. So let me tell you something. If this footage doesn't show something really significant and how wrong CM Punk is, if the footage is just that CM Punk was aggressive and see Tony Khan. Like, by the way, if they had just done none of this, I understood Tony Khan. Listen, this guy has been kind of upset, angry. He's even asked for his release, and you didn't want to do that out of stubbornness, which I understand, and business. So you kept him on. You gave him his own show. You did that. You didn't listen to anything he said. That's fine. The guy asked for his release, and you didn't give it to him. So you know in your head that, hey, this guy is going to try to sabotage everything and destroy things. You know, we should just let him go. But you can't do it. You just won't do it, and I get it. But then when it comes to the point of, okay, now CM Punk's going to start causing, like, I wouldn't say that CM Punk caused the problem yet. It really sounds like all the young guys causing the problem. But CM Punk is willing to go hard, if that makes any sense. CM Punk is willing to break the backstage, flip out. He's willing to do anything. Because who cares if I get fired? I want to be fired, right? And that's like a liability. So I get from AEW's perspective they had to let him go. And even Bryan Danielson, who's friendly with CM Punk, was like, yeah, man, I mean, he wants to go. He's getting more and more upset. He's starting to throw fits. You know, he's showing you this. You just let him go. That's why they decided to fire him. It wasn't like they decided to fire him because that's the right thing because we know what we're doing as a wrestling company. If they knew that, they would have let him go the minute he asked for his release. Tony Khan would have said, damn, you've lost the passion for this place? I want you to sleep on it. Punk, you know what? Like I could see Vince McMahon doing that. Hey, man, listen, I get how you feel. I've had so many other people say that. Then they stick around and everything's great and they have a great time. You know, but in the heat of the moment, you're upset or you're upset right now. I understand you. But here's the thing. I want you to sleep on it tonight and give me an answer tomorrow if you really want to quit and you want me to release you or, you know, if you want to stick around and try to make things work. Think about it and then tell me tomorrow and whatever you say, we'll do it. That would have been what a professional would do with CM Punk. But Tony Khan was like, no, man, I can't let you go. No. We'll create this other show. We'll do all this other stuff. I get it. He's trying to save face and his business and all that stuff. But when you find out somebody doesn't love you like that, if you love them, let them go, right? And if they love you, they'll come back. And I get it. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Punk, oh, my God, if he goes back to WWE. And it's like a relationship. Oh, you find out that he's been going over there to Raw to visit everybody. Now he wants to go. I mean, bro, that should have been the first clue. But nope, you let the guy stay there and blow up and freak out. And then you fired him because you have to. Because you should have fired him in the first place or let him go in the first place because he didn't want to be there. You know, he was telling you that already. So even if the video is CM Punk like punching everybody and flipping things over and stuff like that, it still goes back to the mishandle to the leadership issue. But then we can call out CM Punk for downplaying the physicality. But I mean, what's he going to do? Go on a podcast and incriminate himself? He already said enough by saying I choked the guy a little bit. That was already like kind of incriminating. Like I wouldn't have said that either. I would have said, you know, he came up to me, you know, threatening, and I roughed him up a little, and we got in a little thing. Even that's too much for a lawyer, right? If Jack Perry was like, I'm going to sue him, which that'd be pathetic. I hope that wouldn't happen. I would think that would never happen. I mean, that would be a really pathetic thing if you know, Jungle Boy was like, oh, you know what? There's the video proof. I told you he assaulted me. I'm going to take this to the authorities. That would be petty. That would be, you'd really lose manhood there. You know, I mean, unless CM Punk, you know, attacked you, in a manner I'm not aware of, you know, I don't know. We're gonna find out with this video though. But you know, during WrestleMania week, look at this. It's just tit for tat. It's like, man, they buried us on the interview. We're gonna go out there on Dynamite and say how great we are to everybody, and now we're getting pissed off. It's WrestleMania week. You know what? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to show the video and show the backstage security footage, which is the most interesting storyline in AEW, and it's not a storyline. It's a real-life thing that they're using. And, again, CM Punk is the most talked-about thing. You talk about, like, I mean, like, bro, CM Punk is still delivering for this company. These fucking people. CM Punk is still delivering for them, and he's not there. And, by the way, AEW was great before CM Punk. They were great. They didn't need everybody, but to go to another level, it felt like they needed something else. They needed something valuable and big to help them move to another level, right? They were doing good. They were doing well. 800,000 to 1 million viewers, pretty good. CM Punk comes on, they start doing over 950,000 to 1.2 million and shifting around in those categories. So they had a little bit of a jolt, and it helped cement their core audience. And he did help, but like almost from the first year he was there, things turned, and Cody Rhodes got pissed off at these jabronis, and so did a bunch of other people. And I've tried to talk to the Young Bucks. I've tried to talk to several people in AEW. There's been a few people that have told me a few things. I do have some contacts, but it's like some stuff is either not confirmed enough for me to talk about it myself. I'm not putting myself out there with stuff that's not confirmed. I feel like some people had an agenda too, as much as I love some people that told me some things. I felt like there was a bit of an agenda. So I really just go on what the other people are reporting for the most part. And then if I hear something from somebody and somebody else is reporting something and it seems to go together, then I'll talk about it too. But hey man, I reached out to Tony Khan. I've reached out to the Young Bucks. Obviously CM Punk isn't going to talk to me. So I don't really have much of a perspective on this. My door is always open to do a podcast, to talk to somebody, to go through some of this stuff, to sort of break it down. And I get that Ariel Helwani or Hermione or Hermione or whatever that guy's name is, who's named after a mermaid, by the way, and he's a weirdo. And I get that Tony Khan doesn't like him because Tony Khan views him as a WWE suck-up and that he sandbagged Tony Khan on an interview or whatever. I listened to the interview and the podcast. I felt Tony Khan was a little bit silly and defensive in a weird way, but I also understand that he understands he was being interviewed by a guy who's a WWE guy. But I almost wonder is Tony Khan too in his head about WWE guys versus his guys and how people are, is Tony Khan becoming too tribalistic in this whole wrestling thing? Is he getting very tribalistic? Is it him, or is it everybody else around him that's causing him to be more like that? I don't know. I don't know what the answers to this are 100%. I'd love to go through them. And hopefully we'll find some answers coming up here. But I do know this. Last night was WWE Wrestlemania 40. As I turn 40, WrestleMania turns 40. I don't turn 40 till June, but you know what I mean. It feels crazy that I'm going to be 40 in June and that WrestleMania is 40. That's just nuts. Night one was all right. We talked about it last night, obviously, in the review and the reaction. Tonight we'll be live again for night 2 of WrestleMania 40. I think this will be the better night, and I think that's a very obvious thing to now say after seeing last night. There were a few very disappointing things last night, but mostly things were pretty good. And the opening match with Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch was phenomenal. I thought the main event was phenomenal as well. Good job, and almost all of our predictions came true. We nailed so many things; it was unbelievable, and which makes me think man, we do think a lot alike. But also, I was impressed in the ladder match with all the things that kind of were going. There were some things going wrong that weren't necessarily like botches or problems that anybody else even noticed. But I noticed some things that could have gone very wrong in that ladder match, and I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the alertness of some of those wrestlers and with some of the ways things were handled in that match. And I'm not talking about as a viewer reacting to a wrestling match and grading it and talking about how good or whatever and the story of it and all that stuff. None of that. I'm talking about things went wrong several times, but were quickly corrected or great adjustments were made. One of the most obvious ones was the ladder being broken. Just great adjustments made on that. It could have been catastrophic in that ring with that ladder, the way it broke and the way people didn't know it was broken, it seemed. So there was some things like that. Heads up stuff by the referees, by the wrestlers, the communications. So from a backstage, I guess, perspective, there were just so many things that I was impressed with. And if I was like, Triple H or somebody in the back, certainly were there mistakes and they would go over and sure, fine, whatever. We're not here for that though. But I'm just saying I wanted to, if I was one of the guys in the back or an agent on that match or Triple H or somebody like that, I would just say, man, I'm proud of you guys for making that. Nobody fell the wrong way, really, off the ladder. Somebody could have gotten really hurt here. This was positioned wrong there. This was broken there. But everybody made an adjustment to make it go smooth where most people don't even know that happened. You know what I mean? So great job there. I really want, like, there was some credit that I wanted to give, and I'd break it down further in some other video somewhere somehow. But tonight, WrestleMania Night 2, WrestleMania 40, this is going to be, I think it's going to be big. I think tonight, man, have a couple of shots, have a couple of drinks tonight, because I think by that main event, man, people may be out of their minds. I do think it was a little strange that The Rock broke kayfabe huge. And I know that, like, you know, there's no breaking kayfabe anymore. Everybody knows the press conference is there for them to do that. Essentially, at the WWE press conferences, the wrestlers come out and they're kind of two people. It's like they go from Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. 1 minute the wrestler will be in character, and then another minute they'll flip to like, oh yeah, let me expose everything. You know what I mean? It's so bizarre, but I get it. I kind of get it. And we kind of like it, right? We kind of like that sometimes if a question is too breaking kayfabe, you know, a wrestler will say, yeah, wouldn't you like to know, or something like that, and they'll stick with it a little bit, but then they'll still break like they'll go right into out of kayfabe. It's very strange. It's very strange. But The Rock really pulled the curtain back last night in the press conference and talked about how they made a pivot. By the way, if anybody was questioning that, there are still people out there questioning whether this wasn't the plan all along. The Rock answered that question last night at the press conference. Last night at the press conference, The Rock was like, yeah, that was the plan, and we were going to have Cody do the whole thing and turn it over, and here I come, and I'm going to take on Roman. He's like, but, you know, we heard the fans, and there was a lot of people that were like, we're just going to push through it and just do it. You know, it's going to pay off at WrestleMania. The fans will be, you know, cheer The Rock. But I slept on it. I woke up, and I was like, no, you know, this isn't the right thing. And he talked all about it and gave it all up. I find it strange to do that on night 1 of WrestleMania. You're in between the story, and The Rock comes out and says all that, and then says, no, we really wanted Cody to get his moment, and the fans wanted Cody, so that's what we did. And it's like, so does that mean he's definitely winning tomorrow? Because it sounds to me like you kind of just acknowledge that. Like, well, if you gave up the spot you wanted and had and were going to do to put Cody over, if he doesn't win tomorrow, then, like, well, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it I don't know. I just felt it was a little strange that The Rock poured everything out in the press conference. I felt he should have kept a lot of that more close to heart and maybe, like, towed the line a little bit of, like, kayfabe. You know, but The Rock really said it all last night. He just fucking, like, pulled the curtain way back and explained how everything's working. One last thing about The Rock. I said this a while ago. Somebody said, why would The Rock come back, do this, that, and the other thing, and all these other things? And I said, dude, The Rock is in a different mode right now. The Rock as a human being, as a successful person, as a megastar type of personality, where is there to go next? And The Rock said exactly what I said. I said this weeks ago. I said the guy became a pro wrestler, went to heights that were unreal. What was the next thing? He went to Hollywood and became a superstar, mega Hollywood action star, one of the most sought-after, commercialized, well-known stars in Hollywood. He went to that level. Where's he going to go now? Is he going to just keep doing that? All right, I'm going to keep doing some films, keep doing some wrestling. Where do you go? No, you're a huge. You have an ego. You have an ego. You have a brain. You have the want, and I mean ego in a good way, right? You have the want and the need to take it to another level, right? Every time you beat something in a video game, you want to go to the next video, you want to go to the next boss, and the next boss, and the next boss, and the next boss. You beat the final boss, what do you do next? Give up, kill yourself, end your life, go to sleep? No, you want another one. Give me another video game. It's even harder. That's what our brains, or successful brains, are wired like. So The Rock conquered wrestling, boom. The Rock conquered Hollywood, boom. What's next? It's obviously business, right? It's obviously philanthropy. It's obviously all kinds of starting companies, creating things, creating products, becoming just a Jeff Bezos type of guy. You know, that's what The Rock is after. I know it, because where else is there to go, right? You got the drink, you got the movies company, you got the sports, you got the wrestling angle. He's got a bunch of verticals. The Rock has all these different verticals, and he's setting them up, baby. And that's what he's doing, man. He's becoming just a mega powerful businessman. That's what he's doing. I said this weeks ago, and he said it in the press conference last night. You can't blame somebody for wanting to keep leveling up, and that's what he wants to do. And you could say, oh, he wasn't as popular in wrestling when he left for Hollywood. I think he was. I think he was on the top of his game when he left for Hollywood. And you could say Hollywood, he's had some blips in the radar recently, and that's fine. He has. But whether The Rock continued to be really successful in Hollywood every time he makes a movie, or if he had a couple of issues here or there, bumps in the road, movies that were good, bad, back and forth, whatever, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is he can only go so high. And so he wants to break the ceiling and get to that third level, which is going to be this sort of business philanthropy thing, mega business owner guy, which is interesting. So anyway, that's my rant on everything. What are you guys looking forward to? What do you think about everything I said? And will you be joining me tonight live for WrestleMania 40, Night 2? I'm Joe Cronin. This is The Joe Cronin Show. 10 years of covering WrestleMania here on this channel. And, of course, watching WrestleMania since I was 5 and WrestleMania 5. I love this shit. So let's go, baby. Night 2. But will AEW sour WWE in WrestleMania when AEW exposes, allegedly, CM Punk in the backstage video that they have live on Wednesday Night Dynamite? The most interesting segment they've had since CM Punk ate some muffins in the backstage. My name's Joe Cronin. Leave it in the comments down below. And if you really want to support me, drop me a super thanks, and I'll pin it to the top of this video. No doubt about it, man. Thanks to everybody who's supporting. I cannot do this without you. Comments down below. I'll read them all. I'll heart them, and I may react to them in another video. Plus, look for me and Jake's podcast up on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. That will be up soon this week. You'll love it. And or you'll trust me, you'll love it. Shout out to the $25 producers: Shell, John Wood, The Ghost on the Coast, Brian Jardine, Spectral Citizen, Alan Strober, Snarkbait, Stevio, James Beggs, Sith Negan, Matt Rossmeyer, Alex O'Donnell, and everybody else who's been signing up on Patreon in the $5 spot. These are the $25 producers of The Joe Cronin Show. See you guys tonight.